The most surprising thing the Sword of Kaigen did was make me fall in love with reading again, and I'm going to tell you why. If you're new here, my name is Michael, and welcome to the library. I'm someone who loved reading books growing up, but somewhere along the path of my life, I fell off. The Sword of Kaigen is one of those books that I decided to read slowly, deliberately, at my own pace without trying to impress anyone. And I must say, reading it like that changed the experience of reading for me. So today I want to talk about what this book is, how it changed reading for me, and what hit me the hardest while reading the book as a busy adult. So the Sword of Kaigen follows the Matsuda family, specifically a mother and a son, that's Misaki and Mamoru. They stay at the village called Matsuda, which has a long legacy where the quiet life that they will live suddenly cracks. It's emotional, it's heavy, it's action-packed, but that's really all I want to say about the plot. Trust me, you have to go into this book without knowing too much about it. What stood out to me in this book is the characters felt so real. Now, I've mentioned this in my previous video. I kept reading the Sword of Kaigen because of two characters, Misaki and Mamoru. Misaki is the mother to Mamoru, and Mamoru is her son. Those two characters feel so real. Mamoru, who bears the burden of being the heir to the Matsuda house, which is the elite warrior house in Kaigen. He's also the inheritor of the legendary technique that's passed down from father to son across generations. And Misaki, Misaki, don't get me started on Misaki. She goes through a lot, pain, the guilt, and just the emotional turmoil that Misaki bears in this story. As a mother, as a warrior, as a woman, it's incredible. Because of all of this, they feel so real. You can relate to their pain. They both carry things that they did not speak about, and whatever they're holding in shapes them, trying to be strong but quietly struggling, and this shapes them. And it's not just them, other characters as well are going through a lot. Like there was a particular scene, I'm not going to go deeper into that, but that human side of the story got me. There's a lot of loss in this story. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of people coming to the realization that they can't keep living the way they live. They can't keep shutting people out. They can't keep doing the things the way they've done it, and then having to progress, kind of evolve in their mindsets and their emotions. And all of that makes the story human, and you can feel that. And that's like the number one thing that got to me in the story. Another thing that stood out to me basically was, if you struggle with imagining stories while you read, then this book will solve it for you completely. Wang writes like she wants you to see a movie in your head based on what you're reading. It's so descriptive, it's so clean, and it's basically cinematic, and I've spoken about this in my previous video as well. It's just cinema-esque. That's the way I put it in my previous video. There were entire scenes that played out during the book that it made me feel like I was right there in the middle of the scene with the characters, what they were going through, and it's just so powerful the way she writes the descriptions of everything. So if you have that issue, this book completely solves that for you, especially during the emotional and action-heavy scenes. And that's what really makes this book, the emotional side, the human side to it. That's what stays with you until the final page. The third thing that stood out to me is there's that part in the middle where every shit hits the fan, basically, and everyone talks about this online. And once you get there, you understand why everyone talks about it. That climax basically completely hits hard, and everything that follows as well. It's just completely heart-wrenching. It's interesting to read. It's interesting to watch because of how descriptive Wang's writing is. But when you get there. But here's what the book taught me about reading again. First of all, I do not need to rush while reading. Despite the whole argument I made in my very first video, which is doing quite well, by the way, thank you very much. It's the best performing video on the channel. Despite all that argument, when I started reading the Sword of Kaigen, I still tried to read it fast enough with the goal in mind of finishing the book to create a YouTube video about it, which is just a default that I fell into. But after realizing that, after catching that, backslide, if you call it, I decided to take it slow. Some days a few pages, some weeks nothing at all. I remind myself, you have other stuff you should do, so do not feel guilty about not getting to the end of the book, because that's the whole ethos for the channel, to read without pressure. And this wasn't even external pressure. This was me pressurizing myself so that I can make a video for you guys to watch and share my thoughts and my views. I feel pressure if I didn't hit my goal of 15 minutes of reading a day or 15 pages of reading per day. But instead of focusing on that, what I should have been focusing on was actually taking the time in the morning to read however many pages or however many minutes I did. That was a goal worth celebrating for someone who didn't read consistently in the past. And reading that way just made the story hit harder, and I realized I do not need to rush while reading my books, and I'll enjoy it more. The second thing I realized is I enjoy reading more when I stop comparing myself to others. Online, it feels like people read tens of books per month. So some people read hundreds of books per month, and it feels like if you don't do that, you'll be left behind, basically. But what I realized, I do not need to compare myself to people. And when I stop doing that, I actually enjoy the books that I read. I actually enjoy what I'm reading more without like that nagging feeling behind in the back of my head telling me, oh, you should have read more books this month. Sure. Now, I do want to read more books, but reading is not something you should chase. Unless that's something that, that's your vibe. And unless you do this all day, then have at it. But for me, I realized that when I stop comparing myself to people, when I stop chasing the books, I actually enjoyed the book further. The third thing I realized was how much I miss being immersed in a book. Now, I wasn't reading for too long, but no matter the time that I read, those periods where I read, I felt immersed in the book, and it was just me in the moment reading, and I totally enjoyed that. Try and be fully present in the books that you're reading. Now, who is the Sword of Kaigen for? If you want an emotional, character-driven fantasy, if you want a book that rewards your patience while reading it, and if you're trying to get back into reading at all, just like myself, then definitely this book is a great place to start. Oh, also, if you love Avatar: The Last Airbender, you definitely love this book. It's kind of similar in the sense of it has similar elemental magic, but not in a copy and paste way. This book is totally unique in like what it does, but it's actually reminded me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and someone also left a comment to my video saying the same thing. So if you love Avatar: The Last Airbender and you're looking for a new spin on elemental magic, you definitely love this book. So I'd say the Sword of Kaigen has rebuilt my relationship with reading again. It's another book that I've read earlier on, which I will cover in a separate video, but Sword of Kaigen is definitely one of the few books that has, rekindled my love for reading, and I'm just going to keep moving on and go along with this momentum. It's reminded me that stories are not meant to be rushed. Stories are meant to be felt, and there's a lot of feeling in this book. Like, I think I'm going to do a video about the top 5 scenes in the book, or the top 5 scenes that made me feel sad or made me feel happy or something. I'm going to do that. So let me know if you like to see a video like that. But you have to really settle down and feel the book. Again, if you're trying to read, if you feel stuck, if you feel compelled to read 100 books a month, then maybe you just need one book that is going to slow you down, make you take things easy. And this is that book for me. It's like 630 pages, and you just take your time to enjoy all the feels, all the action, all the scenes, all the characters. And this is one book that could do that for you. So if you love this video and want more reflective reviews like this, more honest book updates, or more videos about trying to get back into reading, then please subscribe, like the video, and do all that good stuff that YouTube loves. I appreciate it. And tell me what book made you fall in love with reading again. I want to try some next moving forward, ride this momentum of reading. So let me know in the comments. I appreciate it.